Tarot Oracle. We're continuing the Thoth Reader's Course. Before we do that, we're going to try to solve the eternal mystery of the Rubik's Cube and see if I can do it. Let's try it. Yeah, there we go. Solved. Easy. Cool. Easy as pie. Here we go. We have the Knight, Queen, Prince and Princess. Prince and Princess, easy to remember. He's naked and she's pregnant. Knight and Queen are the other two. So we'll start with Mr. Knight over here. And Mr. Knight is all about, well, before we start with that, let's talk about the discs in general, because these are the courts of the discs, or the pentacles, right? So we're talking about very earthy stuff, very down to earth, very earthy, very grounded things. And especially here, so when you're looking at court cards, you're always looking at people or like an organization or group of people, right? So when you're looking at these in particular, you're constantly thinking of that grounded, earthy type feeling that we do have with pentacles. And this can also do with money as well. So it could be someone with money, it could be a group with money, it could be a group or some organization that has money or something like that as well. Or it could be individual people. But you're talking about the earthy qualities here, money, work, things like this. So let's look at the first one that we have, which is the Knight. So the Knight is a very interesting character. He is all about planting the seeds and getting the reward. And it's all about food as well. You could look at this as food as well. So we're talking that he's planted the seeds. We have wheat growing in abundance. The horse is all excited. He has plenty of food forever. So the horse is there. He's excited. We have the manifestation of our work, right? That grounded feeling still, but also the manifestation of what we've worked for and the pride in what we work for as well. So if we're looking at this, let's say in a relationship reading, for example, we could have a relationship where we have a lot of pride, right? Could have something where we have the lovers and we have a lot of pride in this relationship. This is something that was sort of grown from the ground up. And the relationship, we do have not only pride in it, but we have pride in our mate as well. So if we look at a reading as to how am I doing with my relationship with my significant other, whatever, this would be a very positive card, not only because it's grounded, not only because it's sort of earthy and down to earth, but because we have that pride from starting this from the beginning. The relationship's good. So everything is really positive with this particular card. So we have the manifestation of the wheat. We have the shield, again, a bit guarded, sort of guarding our stuff with the shield, and we do have that feeling of just overall satisfaction with where everything is going. And you see that across all of the court cards, that sort of satisfaction that we have as well. So it could be something to where maybe we have the negative aspect of the Emperor, right? You remember the Emperor upside down is sort of the negative aspects of masculinity, sort of a bit too gruff, a bit too aggressive maybe, and maybe we're proud of that, and maybe we don't want to change that. This is something that is not embarrassing to us, but it's something that this person prides themselves as being, and it's something that where they like that as well. So grounded and earthy, but could be grounded and earthy about something negative. So we could have that as well. So if we have this upside down, we're now talking about not only, not really positive, but sort of you never did that work. Right? You don't have that pride in what you did. Maybe you did something, maybe you won it, maybe somebody else gave it to you, but you don't have that pride. You don't have that respect for what has grown. It's not quite there. So this is positive right side up and negative upside down. So we don't really have that feeling of positivity. We don't really have that work that we did. We could have a bit of laziness here, right? Especially when we come to this card, we could have a lot of laziness. But here we're looking at this upside down. It could be something to where we really don't want to work at this relationship, and we're really kind of just tired of the relationship, and it's not something that we want to continue with. So you could be looking at a negative aspect from that, for maybe ruin, right? So the relationship was built on good stuff. It sort of got neglected. It didn't really get the seeds planted that it needed to grow. We're not really proud of the relationship. We're kind of wanting to get out of it, and it's going to lead to ruin, right? Obviously, sorry, it needs to be right side up, but it's going to lead to ruin. So we have the ruin. You remember the Boston Bruins, all the hockey pucks around it as well. So it could be causing interference. You remember the interference card? We could be causing interference with all of this stuff as well. So, well, this is upside down. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. We could be causing interference because we're not working at it, because the relationship has gone sort of downhill. So what if we have this as far as a work reading is involved? Maybe we have ventured into a new work environment, and the new work environment hasn't quite worked out for us, no pun intended, or we could have something where we worked for this a while, many years. It was a new journey, and the new journey has come out very positively with how everything is going. And speaking of journeys, maybe we have worked for something for a long time, and we're finally taking that chariot trip. We're finally taking the trip and getting a journey in. You could also have the journey card himself, which I can't find, but yeah. So you have that journey, that chariot, that movement, and things like this. So you're looking at that positivity from that card as well. So overall, just a positive card. It's a good card to have in a reading, and it definitely has some good things to say. So here we go with the trip and travel card itself, the movement card. We have pride in something. We're moving towards having pride in something. We're moving towards getting those seeds sown at work, etc., etc. So, and the next card we have is the Queen. Okay, well, the Queen is also sort of happy, satiated. She has everything she needs and wants. Everything is going well. She's sort of looking off into the distance. And she's surrounded by positivity, right? We have that fertile land or what have you, and everything is good, and the Queen has everything that she needs and is in a giving mood to sort of give back. So I know you're like, what's the difference? He had everything that he needed. He had everything all set up and everything is ready to go. She has everything she needs as well. So what's the difference between these two? Well, he is more of a labor-intensive guy. He's the one that did the labor. He's proud of the labor he put in. He's proud of his accomplishments. And it's sort of this masculine feel of ownership, right? I own this stuff. And I've done the work. I have the labor. I own this. And this is something that I want to keep and I'm proud of. She is more of in a giving mood. So I want you to think of all of these little arms coming out, you know, of her head, all the little tentacles coming out of the ground as hands. And the hands are giving out things to people, right? So this is giving out something, and this is giving out something, and this is giving out something, and that is giving out. So you have a bunch of things being given out. So she's given out all of these things. So I want you to think of that when you see this card, that things are being given out, and we're having donations, and not only satisfied, but willing to share with other people. So we have this sharing, communication, being connected to people, more of a feminine aspect, and here we have sort of the work involved and things like that. So we have it the same feel as here, but more of a sharing aspect and using this for social and communication. But again, she is extremely clever with it. She's able to give out and then maybe ask some favors in return or things like that. So she's using it for that social aspect. So I want you to think of all of these arms reaching out as giving out things. Here, have these, right? So that's kind of the feel that you have for this card. So how do we have this as far as readings are concerned? So here may be that we have the movement, the flighty card, the going card, as well as the chariot with movement as well. But we have the flighty, happy movement card. And after that sort of means that we have everything that we need. We've saved up for this vacation. Now it's time to go on this vacation. So you have somebody, a lot of people just do a bit too much saving, right? So they'll save and they're a bit penny pinching and they really don't use it to go anywhere or something like that. So If you see this followed by this, or maybe followed by the chariot, you could be looking at, hey, you know, you have what you need, your retirement's okay, maybe it's time to go on a trip. Or that extra money that you got, that big windfall that you got for a tax return or whatever, why don't you use that for a trip? Be giving with it, be clever, be sort of witty with that money, right? Be sort of witty with what you've earned and do that as well. So maybe we have an interference. So we have something that's interfering with the way that we want to get things done. We have interference here. Maybe the solution to the interference is to be more giving, like a lot of religions will have a mandate to be more giving, or to be more, you know, to give some of your income away, or, you know, to the charity or to the church or whatever. So you may have something similar to that, to where we have interference, and the interference can be freed up by using sort of the giving aspect, maybe doing some volunteering work or something like this. So a very giving person, witty, clever, has everything that she needs. Maybe if we're going through trials and tribulation, maybe if we're stuck in the ruin, remember the Boston Bruins ruin, maybe if we're stuck in ruin, the solution to that is to sort of look outside of ourselves onto other people and be more giving, more sharing as far as that's concerned, and maybe that will help us recover from the ruin. Maybe it's something where we need to do that. Could also be looking at here to where we have maybe a bit of a loner, right? Maybe a bit, you remember Prince? So Prince is on the stage and he wants to be by himself and he's not really doing anything. Maybe it's time to get out and do things, meet some new people, be sort of giving with our time, giving with our emotions and things like that. So it could be one of those aspects as well. So upside down, we sort of have that a bit more stubborn as far as what's concerned. I don't want, you know, I'm keeping this. I really don't want to share this with anyone, or, you know, whatever. So one of those things to where I don't want to share, I don't want to be giving, I want to keep everything, things like this. So could be one of those feelings as well. It also could be maybe we don't have enough. Maybe we don't have enough. That's our feeling, that we don't have enough. We've had interference, and the interference is sort of blocking what we want to do, and we have this feeling of not having enough, and we're sort of have that little greedy aspect to us because we don't have enough. We don't feel like we have enough of whatever it is to be able to give and be generous and sharing and things like that. So that would be the upside down. So that is the end of the Queen of Discs, or Pentacles. And next we have the Prince, the builder, basically the architect, the builder of things. He has built this cool chariot made out of like balls, right? So he has these bubbles or balls, and he's built this huge chariot made out of these things, and he's sort of riding this along, and you have this intricate design all around him. So you can sort of think of this as the architect or the artist or the builder. So he's the builder of worlds, and you have this globe here, so he's the builder of this particular world. Now, again, anything with discs, pentacles is going to be earthy, down to earth, hardworking, etc. And again, we have here a hard worker, but let's look at this difference between I've worked and I've cultivated all of this thing and I've seen it grown, right? I watched it grow, I planted the small seeds, versus I built it. I built it myself. I created this thing myself, right? So he's concentrating on building it instead of cultivating it and watching it grow. He's grabbing the raw materials and he's building it himself. So we have the builder of worlds. You can see the world here, and you can see all the little globes or all the little bubbles in here. And again, this intricate design points us to architecture. We're like, ooh, that's beautiful architecture. So easy to remember. Now we do have the bull sort of pointing to the Taurus aspect. The Taurus being, hey, maybe a little stubborn, but very reliable, right? Reliable, this is going to be the good boss. This is going to be a great boss. If you have this boss, and let's say IT, for example, this is going to be a great boss. He's going to be able to get you specifications for what you need to build. He's going to be able to build it himself or coordinate it, because he's sort of the manager of the Thoth, right? He's the sort of the manager guy of that. So if you're looking for a job and you're trying to find out what job you want, it's going to be leaning towards maybe architecture. are building or designing something, right? Maybe you're designing something in IT, you're designing the server room or something like this. So this would go well, obviously, with the magician. The magician has all the tools. The magician has everything that he needs. He has all the tools, he's mastered all of the elements, and now he's going to sort of jump into the building aspect, the building of that. If we have a relationship reading as well, we could be looking at building the relationship. You have everything that you need. It's time to start building. It's time to start constructing the relationship that you want, right? So you just met this person. You're asking, hey, I just met this guy, you know, it looks like it's going to be kind of a rough relationship because he does this and that. You say, hey, you have everything that you need. The relationship is going to require some building, some effort on both your parts to build the relationship and to make it happen. It's not going to be one of those, you know, instant karma, magical soulmate feelings. It's going to require some work, but it's accessible, and it's going to require some relationship building. But in the end, we have the lovers, so we're looking at a positive relationship, and everything works out fine, right? So we could be building something new. Remember, have a new idea. We could be building a new idea. We could have a new idea. We have everything that we need. We have this new idea. Remember the light bulb on top of the head from the swords, the Ace of Swords, and now it's time to build it. Now it's time to do that. And again, the big difference between now it's time to plant the seeds and to watch it grow versus now it's time to go build it and architect it as well. So upside down, maybe a little crappy at building things, right? A little crappy at building things, not that good at building it. Maybe you're pretty terrible at building it, actually. You have this bright idea, everything's going to be fine. Should I go forth with this new business of mine? You know, maybe this is not the right business for you. Maybe you should research this a bit more, because it looks like you're going to not be building it properly or building it, you know, you need to be a little bit more careful on how you architect it and pay more attention to the architecture rather than the great idea and let me jump forward with it. So use some caution here because the building card is upside down. Now it could also be something to where we built it and now we want to give it away. Now it's time to, so my YouTube channel has stalled. How can I get it jump started again? And Mr. and Mrs. Tarot Reader, well, it looks like that you could do, you have built it, you have the feed, you have everything that you need. Maybe it's time to do a giveaway. Maybe it's time to do a promo giveaway or do something to where we sort of give back to the YouTube community, right? So the Prince, the Builder, very interesting card and also a very cool card. Great card to have in a reading because it's so radically different. Again, it's so radically different than other decks, right? It's so descriptive. It's so much a personality or a real person behind these cards, which makes it so cool. But that is the Prince of Discs. So now we have the grand finale, the Princess. So what is the Princess of Discs all about? This is about traditional, sort of old school family values, basically. Again, everything is earthy, everything is hard work, everything is, you know, capable of getting things done, sort of that reliability, that dependability. But here we're sort of bringing it home, literally back home, right? Bringing it back to the homestead. This is about being pregnant as for one. So if you're looking for a what do I look for pregnancies in the Thoth, you're going to look for the Princess of Discs because she's sort of the homemaker. So she is pregnant, and I want you to easily to remember to imagine that as a plate of food, and she's being front lit by fire. So she's going to the fire, she has a plate of food to be cooked, and she's cooking the food. So she's the homemaker. She takes care of the children. She's pregnant. She's preparing the meal for the night or the meal for the day or whatever. So I want you just to imagine this. This is the traditional homemaker, old school homemaker card, right? The traditional stay-at-home mom, going to be cooking the meals, going to be doing the housework, going to be, you know, having kids and things like that. This is a traditional homemaker card. If you're looking for one of those, this is the one. As well as, again, you're looking for, I need a pregnancy card. What if I slap down, what does it mean, pregnancy? Somebody's asking me about pregnancy. This is going to be your card, okay? So it could be one of those things to where I'm looking for a relationship. What type of relationship do you think would fit me the best? Maybe you should look at maybe traditional homemaker or traditional housewife or something like this. You have lovers and you have this. Maybe you could be looking at a role, or maybe a guy asks, hey, I need to look for a relationship. Who do I need to look for? Like, do I need to hit up the party girl? Do I need to, you know, what type of woman am I destined to meet? You have lovers and you're destined to meet sort of a person that enjoys that role, that enjoys being the traditional homemaker, the traditional housewife, enjoys that role and takes pride and loves it dearly. And that's going to be this particular card here. So you're looking at that relationship with that. So maybe you have all the tools that you need. You have all the mastery of everything that you need. Maybe you're good at being a homemaker. Maybe that's an amazing job for you. Maybe that's something that you excel at. Maybe you're just amazing with children. You're amazing cook, and everyone likes you for these roles, and everyone looks to you for these roles. You could have, you know, that as well. So you have all the tools that you need to be that homemaker, because a lot of people, maybe they're like, you know, I really don't know if that's the right role for me. I've been looking at this job. I've been looking at getting a career or degree. You know, what would be sort of a better role for me? And you have all the tools that you need for that, the old school traditional homemaker role. So maybe a traditional homemaker role could be interference. We have interference here. Could be interfering with job opportunities. It could be interfering with your career, right? You could be stuck with a traditional homemaker and you're not really happy with it, and it's interfering with having all of your tools and able to get out and into the industries that you want or find the job that you want or something like that. So you obviously this is the super simple one. You can see a fire is lighting, sending light onto her face and her body, which you can see is pregnant, and she's cooking, preparing the food. So, I mean, obviously this is not what this literally means as far as this is concerned, but we're using quick memory tools, quick memory hints here. So, what if it's upside down? Well, maybe you're terrible at that role. Maybe you're terrible. Maybe you hate that role. Maybe it's something, you want a career. You've been wanting to do this and that. You have huge aspirations. You're amazing at IT. You're amazing at being an architect. Maybe being an architect. You're amazing at something. But being a homemaker, or having that idea of a homemaker, people trying to plug you in that role is prohibiting you to be who you want to be, right? Or maybe you're just terrible at it. So I met a new girl. I'm sort of want to see if she would be good in that role. Would she be good in that role? Absolutely not. It could be a terrible role for her. We have this turned upside down. Maybe she hates that role. You may want to research that a little more. Maybe that's the worst role that she's ever had in her entire life, and she absolutely hates it. You never know, right? Or maybe being a homemaker is getting depressing. Maybe it's becoming terrible because you can't go where you want to go. Chariot upside down. I can't go where I want to go. I can't do what I want to do. I'm being restricted by this. It's really annoying and upsetting. I don't like this role anymore. So that is the traditional homemaker role. So that would be the end of this. Let me thank all of my Patreon subscribers. So what is Patreon? Patreon is where basically they give me $5 a month, and that helps me pay for the software that I use to make these videos. They literally make this happen, which is so cool. We have Annie Lemaster, Crystal McGinn, Gary Fink, Hot Chocolate, Janet Littler, KSW Ami, Richard Zeh, Scott Miller, and finally, Shintaro Kuga. These people help me make these videos. They help pay for the software, and I greatly appreciate it. Now, if you would like to join them, link in the description for my Patreon. And even if you don't, thank you so much for watching. I love all of you watching. Please hit like and subscribe. I want to get a community of us together to where we can all sort of talk and chat and learn and sort of hang out. This will be a place where people can just hang out and enjoy some videos, relax after work, and learn a little bit more about tarot, astrology, and things like that. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.